Jalen Milroe has reportedly gotten an invitation to the NFL draft April 24th. Let's talk about what that means. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If that is something that you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comment below. Do you think that Jalen Milroe is going to be a first-round pick? Because if Dane Bugler at The Athletic is to be believed, and I believe that he is to be believed, creo que Jalen Milroe is going to get drafted in the first round, because why else would you invite a quarterback to the NFL draft party to watch it live, except to say you expect that dude to be gone off the board before the end of the first round? I don't think this is as far-fetched as people think. I really don't, because we are talking about Cam Ward going #1, maybe, perhaps, likely. We're talking about Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders going after that. Shedeur Sanders being the second quarterback off the board. And then we have a conversation about which quarterbacks we think are best fit to get selected as a franchise player or just a starting quarterback in the NFL. There is a difference. Franchise quarterback is the guy you build around forever. Patrick Mahomes, right? Aaron Rodgers when he was with Green Bay, and that took long enough. What they wanted Deshaun Watson to be at Houston, so forth, so on. Then you get your starting quarterback. Baker Mayfield at Tampa Bay, Brock Purdy at the San Francisco 49ers, Jared Goff at the Detroit Lions. That's not a bad thing. You spend a first-round pick on that. Easy, especially on a rookie deal, right? For Jalen Milroe, it is really a conversation between him and Jackson Dart. And there are things to be told about guys that play quarterback for Lane Kiffin, specifically at Ole Miss. They haven't been that good in the NFL. It is mostly they run the same system as Art Briles' Baylor did when they were running it up. Corey Coleman was a first-round pick and Biletnikoff Award winner coming out of Baylor, wide receiver, ends up in the UFL. Matt Corral at Ole Miss had a great career over there. Also threw 6 interceptions in one game against Arkansas, ends up in the UFL. That's not necessarily the destination you want to get to, because that is a mark of you trying to get back to the NFL, not you staying in the NFL. Jackson Dart, though, has more accolades than both of those guys coming out of high school. Started out at USC, ends up at Ole Miss, takes over the starting job, and he's able to throw a really great football in an offense that is built around the quarterback and his ability to pass. It's one of the reasons why we looked at him and go, okay, so who's actually getting it done? Is it the wide receivers that play at Ole Miss, or is it Jackson Dart? Meanwhile, Jalen Milroe is both the most exciting and the most terrifying quarterback in this draft for me. Exciting because he can pull it down and he can make something happen with his legs in a way that you just can't anywhere else. Terrifying because he's likely to put the ball on the floor, throw the ball to the other people, okay? It cleans up both of those things. We're talking about an all-pro. We are talking about a guy who's got legitimate 4.3 speed, who may not be as big as you think he is, but that man is all rock. And we're talking about a guy who has been a winner, right? One of my favorite things to reference about Jalen Milroe is, I had him on the show when he was still in high school and he was committed to Texas. And he really wanted to go to Texas. He wanted to study business. He wanted to grow his own businesses. He wanted to be the next Vince Young over there. And this is back when Mike Yurcich was still the offensive coordinator at Texas and pulled his offer. And Nick Saban said, hey, would you like to come over here instead? And that's what happened, right? So Jalen, who went to Katy Tompkins and beat Katy at a time when nobody was beating Katy, ends up at Alabama and has had a career that, if nothing else, has been entertaining and excellent. Both of those things are true. Entertaining because Texas comes into town, you throw a couple of interceptions that give them the double-digit win, and you get benched for the next game for attitude and some other things. Fight your way back into the starting lineup, and then lead Alabama to the SEC championship and a college football playoff berth, coming up just short of beating a Michigan team that ends up winning the national championship in the Rose Bowl. Turn it around, come back with a new head coach, new offensive scheme, new go-to guy at wide receiver in Ryan Williams, and you beat Georgia and take over the #1 ranking in all of college football with a true freshman catching passes for you. Not too shabby. Then you take the L to Vanderbilt. First L that Alabama had taken to Vanderbilt, ever. And then we're talking about a team that hasn't really lost as #1 team. And we're talking about a Vanderbilt team that never beaten a #1 team before. You go into the dumpster after that for a little while. We're talking about Tennessee and what that meant. And then Oklahoma is really when it goes off the rails for Alabama, because all they had to do was beat a mediocre Oklahoma team in Norman. And then you're playing probably for the SEC championship against Georgia or Texas, right? That didn't happen, right? Basically, Oklahoma did to Alabama what Alabama does to everybody else. Allowed the quarterback to go make some plays with their legs, run the football, play great defense. You get the win against Alabama. Alabama plays a ReliaQuest Bowl against Michigan. They lose that game. After that, the conversation around the draft, it really changed into one where we are asking straight up and down, like, which quarterbacks do you take here? Because the Dallas Cowboys trading for Joe Milton was really interesting. It's interesting because, A, Trey Lance was never the guy at the Niners, never the guy at Dallas. Cooper Rush got game, way more game than Trey Lance did. Trey Lance signs a one-year deal with the Chargers, and Milton might be the 9th or 10th best quarterback available in a draft like this one. Maybe, right? I think Jalen Milroe is a better roll of the dice here, although you could make an argument that they have a similar skill set, except Joe Milton's probably got a stronger arm. But in as far as winning, and in as far as I'm ready to be the franchise guy, Jalen Milroe proved that at Alabama, and that's not an easy thing to prove. He will be the last quarterback to start a game for Nick Saban, right? That's not nothing. That's not nothing, especially when you take into account what Jalen Hurts just did with the Philadelphia Eagles, what Tua Tagovailoa can do when he's not getting hit in the head. On down, right? The guy that probably didn't pan out that we all thought might have a chance was Mac Jones. But before then, we're talking about really the Jalen Hurts experience leading to what we know of as Jalen Milroe. I think that guy can play in Pittsburgh. I think that guy is good enough to be your franchise guy at quarterback. But I thought Justin Fields was too. Perhaps it's that you really are smitten by Aaron Rodgers and you do want to have a quarterback that he can learn from. That might be the way to go here. And Mike Tomlin has had that type of player at quarterback. Remember, he had Mike Vick on the roster there for a little while. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, so forth. We all thought that Justin Fields was the better roll of the dice. He ended up going Russell Wilson. Didn't quite work out. They need to figure themselves out at quarterback because basically since Ben Roethlisberger, they have been lost at sea. I would love to see the Pittsburgh Steelers go after Jalen Milroe, but they did this with Kenny Pickett, and it didn't work out. That dude's back into the Philadelphia Eagles. He got a Super Bowl ring for his troubles. What else, if anything, can we expect from Jalen Milroe being invited to the draft? There's somebody there that we don't know about, like, say, Cleveland, right? Maybe they want to pass on Shedeur and go get Travis to get another guy to go with their bona fide Pro Football Hall of Famer in Myles Garrett. You could make an argument that they might want to go get both of the guys from Colorado. Maybe they got that kind of draft capital. Maybe that's why they signed Myles Garrett to that big extension so they could trade him later. A lot of things you could do here. But I think we all agree that Cleveland is not the best place for any quarterback, period. Baker tried. He got close. That's about it, right? They swung and missed on Deshaun Watson. The New York Giants have a better QB room right now because they have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. They're going to go get a rookie quarterback is what it feels like. Could that also be Shedeur? Could that be Jalen? Both of those things could be true. But I think it is worth pointing out that this is not insignificant, that he got an invitation to the NFL draft, because that means you're expecting about two-thirds of the teams to be interested in taking Jalen Milroe with their first pick in the draft. And I, for one, would really like to see that happen. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great personality. I think the letting all haters know stuff might be something he needs to put down for a little bit, because being equally balanced with the chip on both shoulders ain't necessarily the way to do it in the NFL. But I was a dude that I thought might not never see the field again after what he did against Texas, and look at who he turned out to be.